Hi everyone, it's Brenda Quintana, and I'm excited to share my first set of paper pumpkin alternatives with you. And these alternatives are for the paper pumpkin for October, so October 2021. If you got that kit, then you will be able to do these designs with me. And if you are one of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, you will also get a project sheet for these samples sent to your inbox. Now, if you're not one of my subscribers, you can still watch the video and create the samples with me, and I'd be happy for you to do that. I just want to give a little perk to the people that actually subscribe with me, so they will also get the project sheet. So we have a new paper pumpkin coming up in November, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end. But if you want to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, I'm just going to put this link up here just for a second. If you type in this link, and I'll also have this link down in the description of the video, this is how you can get to my Paper Pumpkin page. And the cutoff each month for subscribing is always the 10th of the month. So if you would like to get November's Paper Pumpkin, you need to sign up by November 10th. Okay, I know I want to delve right in and show you the alternatives that I have created. So let me just switch my camera here. All right, so this is my paper pumpkin box, and I already opened it, and I made a couple of the samples that they shared with us in the box, and this was truly a beautiful kit. This is great for creating Christmas cards. So here's one of them, and here's the other one. And so there's several more cards that you could make of the exact same design of this. But I wanted to share with you how you could take this and stretch your stamp set and your Stampin' Spot just a little bit further. You will need to add a couple of products, or maybe some of them you already have at home that you can use. So let's just put this part of the kit aside right here. And I just want to talk about one of the supplies that you'll need is some basic white cardstock. And I'm going to be using thick basic white right here. And to create, I'm going to create 4 samples. And you'll need, for those 4 samples, you'll need 2 sheets of basic white. This is 8.5 by 11. And we're going to start off by, you'll also need a trimmer. A lot of people have a trimmer already at home, but the Stampin' Up! Trimmer is really a great one. It's got both, you can't see it on my little camera, but it's got a scoring blade and a cutting blade. So it's a great way to make your crafting go longer. If you don't already have a trimmer, definitely recommend this one. It's $25, so it's a great price point. Okay, so we're going to start off by scoring each of these sheets in half. So I'm going to line up one of the short sides at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to put this down, find my scoring blade, and it's going to come up from the bottom. So I'm going to score first. I don't know if you can see this. It's got my little score mark on there. My lighting is bad right now because it's the afternoon and there's a lot of light coming in. And so it's a little harder to see. Okay, and then I'm going to line one of the long sides up at the 5.5 inch mark, and now I'm going to cut. So now I've created 2 card bases that are exactly the same, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones as well. I'm going to line up at 4 1/4, and first we're going to score. And then we'll rotate and cut at the 5.5 inch mark. All right, so this is all the card bases that we're going to need for these cards. And so I'm going to take a bone folder. You don't necessarily need a bone folder, but it helps with folding in half. So I'm just going to fold in half, and then this is just going to help me burnish the fold so the card stays flatter. So I'll just go ahead and do that with all 4 of my card bases. 2 more. I know this is a little boring, but I wanted to show how you create things. Say you're just new to paper crafting and you don't know how to do a card base. Now I've shown you how to create some card bases to work with. All right, we are going to do the first card that I designed. And the first 2 cards are designed with not too many supplies. Basically, just some of the stamps, a little extra ribbon, a little embellishment. So there's not a lot of add-on to the stamps. So we're going to start off. We're going to do a card with this Christmas tree stamps that comes with the October kit. And we will use a full-size shaded spruce ink pad. The ink spot that came with the kit is small. So on my supply list for tonight, I did put the full-size pad on here just in case you wanted to have, if you like that color, you might want to get the full-size ink pad, or you might want to get the ink refill so that you can keep your little spot, Stampin' Spot going for a lot longer. So both of those will be on the supply list for tonight. So I'm actually going to use my full-size ink pad just to show you how fun it is to do that. So let's go back to, I'm going to follow along on my project sheet with me. So we're going to open up the ink pad and I'm going to stamp a greeting down at the bottom. And I'm going to use one of the greetings that comes with the October paper pumpkin. It's Peaceful Christmas Wishes. And I'm just going to stamp that down in the bottom corner like that. Okay. And this is just going to help me anchor everything. And then I'm going to take some of this beautiful, soft, succulent ribbon. It's kind of like a sage green. And I'm just going to run this right along here because I'm going to stamp my trees right above it. And I want to have an idea of how much room to leave for the ribbon. So I'm going to start off with inking up my trees. And I'm going to stamp them full strength right above that ribbon line and probably right about there. Okay. Now once I've got that first tree stamped, I can move the ribbon away so it's not in the way when I stamp. And the other thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to be pulling off the edge of the card a bit. So to protect my work surface, I have a little bit of a scrap piece of computer paper here. So I'm just going to ink this up again. And I'm going to line up this small tree with this small tree. And I'm just going to stamp that. So we're creating a full line coming across. And then I'm going to do the same right here. I'm going to line up the small trees. There's a small tree on both ends, like that. So now we have a full line of trees. And now I'm going to do something called stamping off. So I'm going to take this full strength stamp and I'm going to stamp it off once. And then I'm going to just come down just a little bit into my tree line and stamp it again. So I'm building a forest. Now this ink is a little lighter than that first inking. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to stamp off once and I'm just going to kind of stagger it just a little bit so it's not like exactly the same. And then maybe I'll stamp this off twice now. And I'm going to stamp once more. I'm going to do a line of 3 stamps. So stamp off twice, once, twice, and now I'll just kind of come in. I don't know exactly where I'm going to go, maybe about there. All right. And so you can see that's a forest kind of progressively going up. If you wanted to, you could even do 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more, 4. I hate it when things look too symmetrical, so I just added a little bit more so it goes up just a little bit on an angle like that. All right, so now what we're going to do is take that ribbon, we're going to tie it around here. And I don't know, did I say how much length of ribbon? No, I didn't say how much length. So I just measure it. I take it and I go, okay, this is going to be enough to kind of tie around. And I'll just cut that off. And then I want the knot about here. You can shift it though. So I'll do my first knot. And hopefully somewhere under all of my detritus, I'm going to have to go over here. All right. Sorry. I like using locking tweezers. I get these at the jewelry department of a craft store. They lock when you when you squeeze, they open, and when you let go, they lock. And so they actually work like a finger. And I'm just going to do my second knot. So that finger, you know, that you ask someone to put their finger there when you're tying your bow. So your ribbon is tight instead of loose when you're doing a gift package. Well, that's what a locking tweezer does for me, because my husband works in the office next door, but he doesn't have time to come and put his finger on my project each time. So that's why we need locking tweezers. And then I'm just going to angle cut these. And you can see this is just a very sweet, easy card. And then I just grab some of these rhinestone jewels, and I'm just going to very easily grab a couple of them and just add them to the Peaceful Christmas Wishes. And there you go. That's the first card. And basically, we are just stamping on the card base, adding ribbon and rhinestones. I wanted to mention one other thing. Your paper pumpkin, your first paper pumpkin will come with a block that's about this size, a D block. And I've been using different size blocks here. This is a B block and an H block. So it's always better to stamp with a stamp that fits your block really precisely, because that way you get a better inking. You can put this tree stamp on this D block. You can put it like this, or you can put it on an angle. It will fit and it will work. But if you want to have a little bit more fun with your stamping, pick up a few blocks. They're reusable, and I have them on my supply list right here, and the blocks that I used today. And if you would like blocks in the sizes that I'm using today, just have a look there, and it will show you which size blocks you can order if you want to make your stamping experience a little easier. All right, so that's the first card, and I'm going to do something kind of similar with the second card, but I want to use a different stamp this time. I'm going to use this little tiny snowflake stamp. And we'll take one of our the second card base. And this time I'm going to start up here in the top right corner. And I'm going to grab and ink this up in Shaded Spruce again. I know green snowflakes, but Shaded Spruce is a blue green. So it's actually kind of nice. So I'm going to start off full strength at the top, rotate it a little bit, stamp again, and rotate it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm kind of building a pattern that's going dark, medium, light. And I'm going to keep doing that. I want to keep my pattern a little varied. So I'm going to go dark, then I'm going to come in here second time medium, and then light. Okay, and then I'll do the next one, dark, medium, and light. Then we'll do this one. I want to keep varying it. Dark, medium, and then light. All right, so I've kind of filled in, and now what I want to do is I want to fill in the top with dark, just plain full strength stamping. So I'll start up top. Let me think. I want to start in here, go dark, 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 dark. So I'm just filling in the areas that I may have missed up at the top because I went down just a bit. Okay. And if there's any areas here that I want to fill in, I can do that. I just need to stamp off once so I'm not super dark. Stamp off once, and then I can add a few snowflakes on the side. So I've created kind of a snowy pattern with darker snowflakes up at the top, a little lighter, and then the lightest. Okay, so that's my stamping pattern. And then I'm going to add, I really like this Peaceful Christmas Wishes. I think it works well for the trees and for the snowflakes. So I'm going to just add that down here near the bottom, full strength. Okay. And you could choose whatever greeting from that stamp set that you like. There's a Merry Christmas and a Holiday Cheer one as well. They're great for anchoring at the bottom. And I'll take the same ribbon so that we're not having to buy too many supplies. And I just checked, I just like to check inside to make sure my ribbon is not twisted. And then I'll just come here, see how much ribbon I need, and snip. All right. And then I'm going to come in and do my first knot, straighten this up, and then do the locking tweezers, tighten it up a bit, and then do my second knot like that. All right. So now I can just take this and do some angle snips. Okay. And then I want to add some rhinestones to this one as well. Where did my rhinestones go? They went somewhere. Okay, I've got more rhinestones, so I'll grab these ones. And so I'm just going to add a couple of rhinestones to this one as well. I'm kind of boring in my pattern, but it seems to work. One at the top and one at the bottom. All right, let me just stick that aside. Oh, there are my rhinestones. They went off to the side. Okay, so I just want to show you the first two cards together. Aren't they pretty? And they're just like one layer cards, one embellishment, one ribbon, and just one color of ink. And they're just really cute and pretty cards. And that's going to allow you to keep your stamp set going for a little longer. You could also use our Whisper White note cards and envelopes. And speaking of envelopes, you will need some envelopes, and I recommend the basic white medium envelopes because they will fit these exactly. And I also put those on the supply list for you. So see, they will fit right in there. Okay, let's move on to the other cards. So for the second set of cards, I thought that I would include a little bit of paper just to add a splash of color. Since we only had the one ink spot, I kind of stuck to only that one ink color. So if you add a package of the painted Christmas paper, it works really well with the colors and the feel of the stamp set. And it's at a great price point. It's $11.50. And then, you know, you've got your basic white cardstock, you've cut it into card bases. So let's make two cards using the painted Christmas paper. Grab my sheet so I can follow along and make sure I give you the correct dimensions. Okay, and the other thing we're going to be using for this one, this is a very useful punch. It's the Treasure Tags Pick-a-Punch, and it's going to allow me to create some nice little labels for the front of my card. So for the first card, I'm going to turn it like this, and I'm going to take a piece of the paper that I cut, and you can use whatever pattern you like. And I cut this piece to 4.5 by 3.25. And I am going to use some adhesive. I love Tombow glue because it lasts for a really long time, and anything you stick down with it is not going to come off. So I just used like a tiny bead of glue, just a little bit, because you don't want too much so that it wrinkles your paper. And I'm going to just center this right on the front of my card. Okay. Then I'm going to take a little piece of paper, and I cut this earlier to 3 3/4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. And I just use my paper trimmer. Just use a bit of that basic white cardstock that you already use to make your card bases. And I'm going to use my Treasure Tags Pick-a-Punch. And I'm going to use the rounded one. And there's a slot for 3/4 of an inch. Feed it in all the way till it hits the back of the punch, and then punch it. And look, it creates that nice little ending. So this is great for all your stamps. You're making little labels. So it's a nice little add-on punch. Okay, so we're going to add this onto here right here, but let's add a greeting to it first. And I'm going to use the Holiday Cheer greeting. And I want this greeting to kind of be close to this end, and let's just stamp it straight. I love that these stamps are photopolymer. You can see exactly where you're stamping. And I'm just going to put that right about here. Put some Tombow on there. And I'm going to put it up probably about an inch from the bottom of the card. And it's going to go all the way to the edge right here. Okay, and then there's just 2 more things I'm going to do with it. I'm going to take a bow. I tied this bow earlier with some Real Red ribbon. This is the Real Red sheer ribbon. I also have this on the supply list for you, and it's just a bright red touch, and this ribbon ties really nicely, so you will love that. And I like to attach my ribbon, instead of mini glue dots, I kind of like to attach it with tear and tape, because there's a little bit more adhesive on it to attach the card. So I'm just going to add just a little bit to the bow part, to the loopy part. I'll show you in a second before I take the... Okay. So you see, I just put it on there. This is double-sided, so I'm just going to smooth this down. And then I just need to remove the backing. If I can do that, I'll be really happy. There we go. So now I just have the adhesive, and it's a little bit bigger than a mini glue dot. And I'm just going to stick that right there on my card. Okay. And then I'll come in with some more rhinestones right here. And I'll just... I'm trying to use up this sheet because it's almost done and I keep losing it. So I'll just add a rhinestone here and a rhinestone up here. Oh, and I'm going to use 3 rhinestones on here and 1 down here. All right. And there is the card. Just by adding a little paper, the greeting from the October paper pumpkin, and a little bit of ribbon, you've continued to use the stamp set. And that's just a really quick and easy holiday card. All right, I'm going to use some different paper to make a different layout. So this time, I'm going to use a piece of paper that measures 3 inches by 5.5 inches. And I'm going to adhere that about 1/4, 3/8 of an inch from the right side of the card. Again, just add just a tiny, tiny bead of the Tombow. And just going to attach that to the right side of the card and press down. And I'm also going to use the Pick-a-Punch, or the treasure tags pick a bunch for this one. And I don't even know what, okay, I use the same rounded piece for that. So this time, this piece measures 4 1/8 by 1 inch, and I'm going to slide it in the 1 inch slot. You can choose which pattern you wanted. I just use the rounded one for both of these. Give it a little punch and see, it's a little wider. It's got a little bit more detail. It's very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. And then I'm going to add that right here. But first I need to get a greeting on here. And this time we're going to use Merry Christmas. And get that right here. And I'm going to stamp it again very close to the punched end right there. And then we'll just add some Tombow. Cross like this, and probably 3/4 of an inch to about an inch off the bottom there. It doesn't really matter. I just like to have it in the bottom half, so I don't want everything to be super symmetrical because that looks too contrived. All right, so we're also going to add a little bow. Same deal, same kind of ribbon, and I'll just add another little piece of tear and tape to the back. It literally tears. That's what's nice about it. And then just rub that down and remove the backing. And by putting 2 pieces on here like that, it's just going to be so much more likely to stick. I find with mini glue dots, they're just a little too small, and when it gets hot and dry in our houses at Christmas this time of year, I already have the heat on. You need something that sticks a little better. So I'm just going to add the bow over here on this side, and then we'll come in and add some rhinestone jewels. These are kind of like the gold standard. We use rhinestones on a lot of different things because they're not colored. And they just add a little bit of bling to the cards. And so I'm just adding 3 of them on here. Okay. So let me move some of these things out of the way so I can show you all of the cards together. So here are the 2 cards that I just made with the paper. And this just lets your stamp set go a little further and your Stampin' Spot, right? Because I used some of the same shaded spruce ink on here. So just by adding a few supplies, you can make those go further. And then the other 2 cards right here, let me see if I can get them all on the same page here, will allow you to make that stamp set, the whole paper pumpkin, go a little further. And I will have a supply list on my blog post for you. And if you are one of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, you will get this as a project sheet as well. But we didn't use very many supplies today. There are 15 supplies listed here, and you don't need all of them. You don't need to get extra adhesive if you don't want to. But getting some paper is great. Getting some matching ribbon is wonderful. Our cardstock is really great quality. The rhinestone jewels, they're inexpensive and they add a lot of bling to your card. I do really like this punch because this is going to allow you to take some of your greetings and add a little bit of a layer to them if you want to keep using your stamp sets. And of course, it's nice to have a paper trimmer. But you don't need all of these. Pick what you want and it will help you make your paper pumpkin go a little bit further. So I'm going to come back over to you guys. I hope you enjoyed my paper pumpkin alternatives. The paper pumpkin is only $22 plus tax a month, and the shipping's included in that $22. So it is a really great deal, and you get this paper crafting experience to your door. October Paper Pumpkin is already gone. We can't get it anymore, but don't miss out on November's Paper Pumpkin. And I just want to show you a sneak peek of what November's Paper Pumpkin is going to look like. It is going to be 9 treat packages, and in that kit you're also going to get a stamp set and a Stampin' Spot, just like you would have with your October kit. So that's a little sneak peek. Don't forget to sign up by November 10th. Let me put that away. There is my sign up link, and there will also be a link that you can click on below, so it'll be easy for you to find instead of having to copy down this link. But I just wanted it on the video anyway. So 2 things will happen. From now on, I am doing paper pumpkin alternatives every single month. So once I get my paper pumpkin kit in November, I'm going to be creating alternatives with it at the end of November. So you'll always get a video from me at the end of November with some paper pumpkin alternatives. Then if you ordered the kit from me, I'm going to be having a Zoom night at the beginning of the next month. So we'll have that at the beginning of December. And if you ordered from me, you'll get an email with a link to join, and we'll do it on a weekday evening. And once I've kind of got the swing of things figured out, we'll pick an evening and we'll stick to it and see how it goes for everyone. And then we'll be able to take our paper pumpkin kits and we'll be able to finish making them. I don't want you to store them in a different spot. I want you to use them, and I want you to send the cards and bring joy to other people. So let's have a night where we get together and we make the paper pumpkin kit. And this is for my subscribers only, but the alternatives, the video will be sent to everyone. The project sheet is for my subscribers, and the Zoom night is also for subscribers. So let me just see if there's anything else that I need to let you know. Well, you have my subscribe link. If you have any questions, just let me know. And I'm so excited to start sharing more of Paper Pumpkin with you. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.